Okay, did you all hear about this story? Apparently, Tinder, I don't know about other dating sites, but maybe they'll follow, is actually adding a height filter in order to push misandry even further. So, let's take a look at this article and react as we go. Tinder's new filter incentivizes users to lie about their height. I mean, right off the bat, are we going to criticize men who are going to lie about their height in order to get past the filter? I mean, quite frankly, I don't think men should, because any woman who's going to use the filter is much too shallow anyway. I don't see why you'd want to date a girl like that. So I personally wouldn't lie because it would just affect me anyway. But at the same time, I also wouldn't criticize men for doing this because it's not like women don't lie all the fucking time on dating apps. Lying about their weight, lying about their life, children, all kinds of things. So, I mean, my god. Just as Short King Spring settles in, Tinder is launching a paid height preference filter. A few weeks ago, I wrote an article exploring the question, does height really matter when dating? Well, are we talking about to women or in reality? I'll answer both. So, to women, yes. Most modern Western women, because of the brain damage we see everywhere, they do prefer over 6 feet. Now, this is unfair on a very basic surface level, but then of course it's unfair in multiple ways. The first one is the average height of a man is 5'10". So you literally have to be above average in height to be considered average by the average modern women. That's already broken beyond belief. And then, of course, it's unfair because you can't control your height. I hate the idea of criticizing anybody for things that they cannot control. I hate it with a passion. It's one of my giant pet peeves. I have a video on my page called The Truth About Body Shaming. I urge you to watch it. It dives into this pretty deeply. But yes, just in general, across the board, I hate when people are criticized or what's the word, like not able to get what they want or do things that they want because of something that they can't control. I hate that, always have. And does it matter in reality? Well, no, because what does matter in reality are things about the person. Are they funny? Are they smart? Are they kind? Are they loyal? Are they genuine? Those are the things that actually matter. So superficial things, like pretty much anything involving appearance, of course, you can have your preferences. I'm not going to say anybody can't have a preference. You are allowed to have preferences on things that are physical, even if you can't control them. You know what I mean? Like, you can have a preference on things you can't control, like dick size and height, and you're allowed to have preferences on things you can control, like boob size, ass size, weight, your face, all kinds of things. It's fine to have a preference, but it's not fine to judge others and also be a little bit too unrealistic. And also, you should learn to compromise on people. I mean, sure, even if a guy is not over 6 feet, can't he at least be 5'11" or 5'10"? Again, if your preference is tall, don't go for a guy who's 5'5", but at least let a guy who's 5'11" get away with it. Like, so, geez. Anyway, there's your question answered. Now, Tinder is testing a height filter that alters the algorithm based on the user's preferences, but only for women, of course. Mashable recently explored Tinder's new feature, claiming it's bad news for short men, bad news for average men too. However, it will undoubtedly impact both genders. Now, let me tell you something. In a lot of ways, this is actually a good thing. The first impression is always like, well, this is horrible. Now anybody who's even just average height is going to be passed on. But actually, this does two really, really good things that I think a lot of people aren't considering. One, I've already said, it allows men to not be brought in by shallow women who only care about things like height and wallet. And the other good thing is actually on women. Because you see, because as I've explained multiple times, especially in my cheating FTR, which you should watch, women, modern women, have been pushed into having extremely unrealistic expectations. And I do wonder, I mean, I don't think this is actually going to happen, but what I'm saying is that it can happen, and it might with at least some people. What could happen is when women put on all these filters, she might find that her results are decreased by like 70 to 80%. It might actually finally help teach women, wow, as soon as I put in these preferences, my results went from 2 million men to just 5,000 men. Maybe I really am expecting too much. Let me remove some of these filters. Now, granted, I do know that I'm asking for a lot, but this can show women directly that their expectations are too high when the results are filtered by like 80%. And then they might wake up and remove them. You never know. I mean, we can assume. But all I'm saying is that it can help. I'm not saying it will, but it can. As a 5'7" woman, I've always been considered a bit on the taller side. As a woman, yes, that's tall. Many men have commented on my height on first dates or even just in bar settings or social events, and for a while I was insecure about how tall I was. Okay, so hang on a second, this is wild. So we know, anybody with a brain knows that when it comes to a height filter, men are the most affected by this. That is obvious, even a very stupid person would know that. But of course, because women have to be perpetual victims, it's the woman who's talking about how it's going to affect her. No matter no matter what we do, it's always women. Okay, here's more misandry against men. Women most affected. It's fucking unbelievable. Now, I'm not saying that a tall woman isn't maybe ignored by a man who either doesn't want a tall woman or is a short man, but if you're gonna tell me that women who are too tall are more attacked than men who are too short, you are fucking delusional. Men who are too short are attacked maybe 30 times more. No, 30 is too, maybe 50 to 60 times more than a woman who's too tall. And even if you look at it in a literal sense, with like who has the most preferences and what is like the most statistically able, a woman who's taller than average, so let's say 5'7", 5'8", can still very easily get with a man who is shorter than her, the same height, or even slightly taller. But when it comes to men who are under 6 feet, which is still average, and if you're 5'11", you're actually 1 inch above average, and they're still being called short at a much more rapid rate than women are being called tall, you start to see, when reality sets in, just how fucking hypocritical that is. Wow. Now, I personally don't think 5'7" is wildly tall for a woman. It's not. It's only 2 inches above average. Well, average is 5'5". Some of my female friends are up in the 5'10s, 5'11". Now, that would be too tall, but again, a lot of men wouldn't care. Now, I might care because I'm 5'8". I'm 2 inches underneath average for a man. So I personally wouldn't want a woman who's 5'10 or 11, but that's my preference. However, here's what I'll tell you, because I'm not shallow. If I actually had met a woman, obviously before Alice, if I had met a woman who actually was taller than me, but we connected in every capacity other than height, I would just accept it. I would. But, as a man, I would be mocked by random people on the street and saying, ha, your girlfriend's taller than you, because that's just the life of a man. Point is, though, for a lot of men, even if the girl's taller, it wouldn't necessarily be a deal breaker. It can be, and probably is a lot of the time, but it's not always a deal breaker. Whereas a man who's too short for a woman is pretty much always a deal breaker. We're talking like 90%, if not more at the time. So again, that's just how it is. And they still proudly wear heels and appear elegant and timelessly beautiful. Okay, I'm not sure how that's relevant to literally anything, but if you're going to complain about how tall you are and men don't approach you because you're too tall for them, why would you wear heels to look even taller? It's like, oh, fuck, men aren't approaching me because I'm too tall for them. Well, let me look even taller. Genius. But has it made dating a bit more difficult for some of us? Yes, it certainly has. Then take the fucking heels off. Why? Because men have their preferences too. I know, isn't that amazing? Most people don't even know that. And many times it's for shorter women. Yes. Now, that doesn't make anyone right or wrong. Rather, it's just what they're attracted to or feel comfortable with. Correct. But if men have preferences, it's called sexism. But will Tinder's height preference really make a difference? I guess it depends on how honest people are on the apps. And again, I love how we are this far into the article and they are still only talking about how the height thing affects women, even though it statistically affects men like exponentially more. Jesus Christ. Men were notorious for adding an inch or two to their advertised height before it impacted their potential matches algorithm. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Now, again, I don't approve of lying in any capacity because I'm a very honest person. And when I was on dating apps, I did, in fact, put 5'8", because that's what I am. But I totally understand a man who decides to put an inch or two taller than what he really is because he's been rejected like 2, 3, 4, 500 times, and he's just fed up. If a man is lying about his height, that's usually why. He's fed up of being rejected, and he just wants a fucking match. What he's doing now. Again, like I said earlier, I don't even approve of that because I think if the woman is too shallow, he shouldn't even bother with her anyway. But what we're talking about though are men who just want a match with pretty much anybody, and I guess what he's doing is he's hoping to talk to her and trying to see if he can get her to fall for him for his other more important attributes. Like, hey, look, I know I lied about my height, but I also have this, so can we please go on a date? I know, I'm 1 inch too short for you, and I lied in my bio, but look, I really am a good guy, I got a good job, you know, I'm smart, I'm funny, I'm caring, I'm loving, I'm a family man, all that stuff. He's just trying to get into the door by lying. Again, don't approve of lying in general, but I'm saying that's why he would be doing it. Will Tinder's new feature encourage even more dishonesty? Maybe, because men are, like I said, men are already lying by putting like 1 inch or two taller in order to get some matches. But if she's gonna filter and now make her filter say 6 or higher, then those men might even put 3 inches above what they really are, or make men who are currently telling the truth start lying. But who's to say? Tinder's new height filter basically allows platinum users to set a height preference range. Tinder will then show them more individuals whose listed heights fall into that range. However, the dating app apparently won't completely exclude unqualified profiles. That's actually good. Finally, something positive. You added this filter so that women can be as misandrous as possible, but while not excluding normal average men. Thank the fuck Christ for that, at least. Thank you for having some mercy for all the struggling men out there. Jesus Christ. They'll just favor the others. Okay, whatever, I guess. I mean, it's still not good. It's just better than what it was before. We're always listening to what matters most to our Tinder users, I doubt it. And testing the paid height preference is a great example of how we're building with urgency, clarity, and focus. By adding unfair preferences. And again, this is one of the major reasons why I call it unfair. One, because it is objectively, biologically unfair. But also because, why aren't you adding filters that are more geared towards men's preferences? Height is a mainly female preference. But you know what's a mainly male preference? Weight. So why not add a weight one? Oh, is it because a weight preference would be sexist? Okay, well, so is this! So what the fuck? A Tinder spokesperson told Mashable this is part of a broader effort to help people connect more intentionally on Tinder. Sure it is. The spokesperson added that not every tested feature becomes a permanent one, so who knows if this paid height preference is here to stay. For now, it's only available to Tinder Platinum users, who pay $40 per month. Good lord. This feels like a ripoff considering people are bound to lie about their height anyway, and that was before the algorithm was against them. Are we still talking about women being affected by this even though it's primarily men? Anyway, according to one Reddit user on the r/Tinder sub, it's the only way they're going to get women to pay for the service too. So let me get this straight. Men have been paying $40 for these dating apps for the longest time. It's not just Tinder, it's all of them. And women have always gotten them for free. But now, because of the height filter, we're complaining that women will have to spend $40, even though men are already doing that. Oh, wow. God forbid you have to pay when men are already doing that. However, a woman also commented, as a woman, I don't see this working. But then, I find the obsession with height to be absolutely absurd, so I guess I'm not the target market. Well, then I guess you're a good person, which is rare. And a third person seemed to share my thoughts. I feel like this just ends with every single guy lying about their height on their profile even more than before. But again, you excuse women lying on it all the time. Women lie about how many kids they have. Women lie about their face with makeup. Women lie about their weight by taking a picture from their chin up. Like, why is it only okay? Like, why was there never a complaint when women lied like that? Now all of a sudden that it's now that all of a sudden men might lie about one thing, their height, because you force them to by adding a preference, all of a sudden it's bad. So let's recap. Women lying about their children, their job, their weight, and many other things, that's okay, no problem. But a man lying about his weight because you added a preference which drove him to do it in the first place, that's a problem. The double standard hypocrisy, I can't take it. I can't fucking take it. If anything, this paid feature just feeds into the superficial dating preferences. And they're trying to throw that on men. That is fucking wild. But if you're that worried about height, maybe you shouldn't be on the dating apps anyway. It's rare you'll find someone's true height listed on their profile. Which, quite frankly, is extremely fucking irrelevant. Men are only lying about their height before this because they're sick of women being shallow. And now you add a preference which makes it more difficult for men, which in turn causes them to lie a little bit more, and you're complaining because you caused the problem. You know what? I don't even know what to say about that. Just shut the fuck up. Anyway, the moral of the story is this is a very bad thing for men, not for women. And it's also hypocritical because women are never criticized for lying on their dating profiles. Quite frankly, the reality is I support this and I don't. I don't because it's unfair, duh. And I do support it because, like I said earlier, it'll help men get rid of the shallow women, and it also might show women how many results they have after they put on like a 90% deletion filter, and then maybe show them just how unrealistic their expectations truly are. But what do you think? Do you think this will actually help women see the light, or do you think they'll be just as delusional as before? See you later.